Bas Kawalik, I'm Frank Blanquette. Welcome to FNX Now. Today we're learning about Spirit Rangers, a new Netflix series that brings California tribal stories to mainstream media. We joined the KVCR series Lifestyles with Lillian Vasquez. Lillian?
My guest is Carissa Valencia. She is the creator and the executive producer and the showrunner for the new Netflix preschool children's series, Spirit Rangers. Welcome and thank you for joining us.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to speak to you about this series, but first, I want you to share with our listeners and our viewers what a showrunner is.
Yes. So, a showrunner, it's like having all my dream jobs at the same time. I essentially oversee all the departments that it takes to make a TV series. It's this combination of being creative and managing an assembly line because we have to get through casting, directing, editing, art, records, post, and it's just this long process where I'm at the top here, leading the charge, making sure the vision is all consistent.
Yeah, it's quite a role, that's for sure. And I want to talk about you being the first native Californian to do this. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But first, I want to talk about the Sky Cedar family and the children, Cody, Summer, and Eddie. And then I want to talk about the animals that they turn into. They also have a couple of sidekicks, which is Coyote and Lizard. So tell me about the family.
Our Sky Cedar family is my dream come true. I always wanted to see myself on screen in a modern space. So I had also looked back, and I'm a lover of national parks, but had realized I had never met an Indigenous park ranger before. So in my dream world, this is a family of park rangers that are taking care of their land and place in a modern way using technology and their environmental sciences, their traditional ecological knowledge, but also celebrating their culture, knowing that their culture is magic. My tribe believes in the transformation of certain people. So we have bear doctors and they transform into bears and also humans. And those types of stories really excited me. I'm a fan of like fantasy and supernatural stuff. So the Sky Cedar family is based on the Shumash and also the Cowlitz. So you'll see that they look like they have different skin tones, hair colors, hairstyles, and it was a beautiful way to show that families can be multi-tribal as well.
So I want to talk a little bit more in depth about that. But first, I want to ask why the selection of the cub, the hawk, and the turtle? Why were these animals selected? What was the reasoning behind it?
So this whole thing really started out with a bear. Um, I went to one of my tribe's bear ceremonies and watched our dancers honor the bear. They're wearing the skins. And as I was watching, it's just so beautiful to see that the way that they move and honor our animals in place. And I was thinking, like, what if a little kid found a bear skin and realized that they can also transform? So that was Cody. That was the first character that kind of came up for me. And then from there, I wanted to have this assemble some superheroes and wanted to give them their own unique space. So I chose an animal that was land, water, and air. And the turtle was next because the turtle's on our tribe's flag, so really important to me. And he has all the rock art on his shell. And then Summer is a red-tailed hawk because they're everywhere in California. I've always seen them. Anytime we see them, we consider it a real treasure if I ever find a feather on the ground or anything like that. So I definitely wanted a red-tailed hawk in there.
So a lot of thought was given to the animals that the kids would turn into, obviously, and for good reason. Now, the children have a secret necklace made of abalone shell. Why was this the item for their secret power?
So it was a bit of I wanted to show off the Shumash jewelry, which is our beautiful abalone shells that we use in a lot of our necklaces and earrings and regalia. So each of the kids has the pendant in the shape of their animal, but it's a different color abalone shell. So Cody's got the red shell, Summer's got the white shell, and then Eddie has that traditional green blue shell. And from a story perspective, we wanted to make sure that the kids can transform at any time. So if they're always wearing their necklaces with them, that would help ease that process. But also, it is so cool just to see them in their park ranger gear and then wearing their native jewelry. I love seeing the combination.
Well, they're definitely cute characters. So the animator who created them, very cute. Was that with your direction, or did you have that vision of what you wanted them to look like and what to be?
Yes, I did. And I am not an artist by trade, unfortunately. I'm very jealous. I wish I could draw. We are partnered with Superprod Animation, and they're based all the way in France. And they have gotten the American US history course that they never asked for and have learned so much about our US tribes. And with that, every tribe that whatever, every spirit, whatever tribal prints that they have on them are all inspired by the region that they're from. So Coyote and Lizard have rock art all over because they're Shumash. So that's where you'll see that come from. So it's in partnership with Superprod. We also had Chris Aguirre early on in the development phase. He is Apache, and was brought on to really help me kind of do the visual development and creating the world from nothing. And it was a really fun process.
Now, you have a great opening song, a great opening theme it's really catchy, and that's what it should be, right?
Come and gather around, listen to the story. Here in Goose Park, where the spirits play. Someone must protect Chumash territory. Who will hear the call to save the day? Here come the Spirit Rangers. Oh, yeah! Here come the Spirit Rangers.
But I want to know, what's the message of the theme? What are you trying to convey? What lessons do you want to instill in the children or the adults that watch it with them?
For the opening, I am really welcoming you to the park. It is a welcome to this Disneyland of all national parks, to Somala Shumash territory. We have some Somala language in there. When our composing team was working on this song, they were brainstorming and kind of settled on like, oh my gosh, like they were thinking like, who is the singer of this? And at first they were like, maybe it's like the creator or something like that. And then they were like, no, it's Carissa. She's the one who is welcoming you all to the park. So they really wrote the song with my voice in mind, thinking about that. Yeah.
Has this project been in your head for a long time to bring these characters to life? Tell me about that, the characters themselves, and how they may have been living with you in your heart for a while.
Yeah, I think I really cracked Spirit Rangers around 2018, 19-ish. So it wasn't that long ago. I was right in the peak of my career in the preschool space and really learning the audience and the types of stories that are being told. And I had Spirit Rangers kind of in the back of my mind, but just didn't know how to gear it towards like, is this an adult show? Is this a older kids show? And then after learning so much from Chris Nee, who created Doc McStuffins, I was like, this is a preschool show, 100%. All of our tribal stories are so universal with those lessons that we're sharing. Like Trickster Coyote is always up to no good. That's like perfect for preschoolers who just want to like laugh and watch him do silly things. So that's where it really kind of found its home.
I gotta say, I like Lizard or Lizzie Lizard
Yeah.
because I like some of the one-liners and the quick comebacks
Mhm.
it have. Now, I understand you base the Sky Cedar family on specific tribes, and you've said it a couple of times. Did you talk to the tribes when you had this idea and knowing that you were going to kind of share their stories? And what were their thoughts or ideas? What did they share with you?
Yeah, this is a piece of the puzzle that I've been so proud of because, as we know, Hollywood has made stuff for a long time about us, without us, and I didn't want Spirit Rangers to be in the same trap. So I first went to my tribe, the Shumash, and had a meeting with my elders council and told them what I wanted to do, the show that I wanted to make, as a way for me to give back to them because they paid for my college education and this is something I wanted to give back to them. And after I shared everything, they were just so moved and so happy. They gifted me these transcripts from my ancestor, Maria Solaris, who's the reason why we have our language and our stories today. And only the elders have those books, but they gifted them to me so I could adapt these stories and I had permission to do so. And if there was any I had questions on, I would go to them and they would tell me, no, please don't do that. Or here's another idea, try to do this character instead. So it was something I really wanted to be respectful of, and they've been involved at every step of the way. And when Dr. Jolie Proudfit had this idea of bringing in another tribe, so the family was multi-tribal, which I really loved, because then we can have, a variety of looks for our family. And Joey Clift offered to ask his tribe for permission. So he did a big 8-hour Zoom with his tribe, same thing as I did. And they wholeheartedly were very excited. Both the Chumash and the Cowlitz are smaller tribes. I don't think they get a lot of the attention that some of the bigger nations do. So they're really, really excited to show off their culture. So dad is Cowlitz. You'll see him in his cedar hat, and then mom is Chumash. So the kids are a mix of both.
So that also gives you the opportunity to play with two different tribes, two different stories and way of thinking, and that we marry sometimes outside our tribe, right? So that kind of gives that opportunity to explore stories down the road.
Yeah, definitely. And it's really cool to reflect that we're not a monolith. We can belong to two different tribes and not know everything about each other. So when you're inside the Sky Seeders house, you'll see baskets up on the shelf, but you'll also see family photos of them at Mount St. Helens. They can belong to both.
Now, I'm going to go back to the question I asked earlier, because I don't think I got the answer, and I may have cut you off, but I wanted to know we talked about the opening, but I wanted to know about the lessons or the theme that you're wanting to convey, what you want the little kiddos or the adults to walk away with. I don't know if I got that answer or not, so I'm going to go back and ask that one more time.
Yeah, no problem. So I think as a whole, I'm really hoping that kids and family will appreciate our environment. You don't have to be Native to enjoy this show, but I do hope that those who are Native will feel pride and feel acknowledged that we are a community that's still thriving today, and that also folks who are non-Native learn a little something new about the Indigenous world. And overall, I think themes that you'll see a lot in this series are community, friendship, not being perfect, and just kind of that we're all connected. We lean on that a lot.
And kindness, just being kind
Absolutely.
to our fellow person that's in our space, right? Just being kind. You kind of said that a little bit at the beginning, but I want you to tell me, why was it important for you to create this series? You said you wanted to kind of give back because the tribe had put you through college, you wanted to recognize them, but why was it really important to you? I don't know, maybe from when you were a little girl to now, you're still pretty young. Why was it important to you to do this series?
Well, this series, like at the end of the day, it has really healed my inner child. Growing up Native was tough in California, where, our curriculum is you have to build a Spanish mission in third grade. And it's like really tough to hear yourself spoken about in the past tense. And I just like that really, really stuck with me, that feeling of being invisible. And I also think like when I would tell people that I was Indigenous, I would just get all the silly questions under the sun. And I just didn't want to have to deal with that. So I wouldn't even say that I was Indigenous sometimes. And I just like look back on that and regret it. But it's also just like it's part of the process. And now here I am, loud and proud, Native in all types of ways. And I'm just hoping that this next generation won't experience that.
And do you think that people do ask silly questions, or is it because they just don't know the answers, they don't know the history, they just don't know what they don't know?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. I think our community has been caricaturized in a way that those silly questions can come from, but there's also just like people are genuinely curious, and those types of people that have good intentions, I'm always happy to answer, because if you're taking an interest in learning about us, like amazing, because we're still here.
I think it's really important to not be afraid to ask questions if you're genuinely wanting to learn more about the culture.
Exactly. Completely agree.
I'd now like to introduce Frank Blanquette. He's a producer director for FNX First Nations Experience.
I want to talk to you about why this series or how this series showcases California Indian culture, a culture that's really, as invisible, I think, as Native people are in mainstream television for so long. California natives are even a little bit more invisible than most tribes.
So growing up, there was not a lot of native content. And if there was, it was never California tribes. So I remember growing up, and even some of my fellow native kids, California native kids, were like, did we used to live in teepees? I didn't know that. And then my dad and family would be like, no, we did not. But that's what we're seeing on screen. So even just like building my own sense of self as a kid, I was leaning on media, and that was the only native representation. So being the first California Indian showrunner and showing off the Chumash tribe just means the world to me. I can't wait for there to be more Indigenous California content out there. I feel like we are definitely feeling more invisible compared to the other tribes, but this is just the beginning. We have so many stories to tell, and I'm really proud of all the Samala language that is in the series. We have basket weaving. We built a visitor center inside the ranger station that is so special. It was built in part with the culture department from my tribe. So everything you see in there was just designed from us, which is so great. You'll see our basket weaving patterns as trim around the visitor center, certain artifacts, and a lot of our California animals, coyotes, lizards, poppies, our wildflowers. I'm really happy to show all that off.
I even caught a tribal elder on one of the episodes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you for asking and noticing. That is Maria Solares. I am one of her descendants, and I've been living with her stories the past 2 years. Those books that my elders gave me, I've been reading like crazy. And I just feel like I've learned so much more about my tribe because of those stories. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here now with Spirit Rangers getting to share more of our culture. So she was definitely in the visitor center watching over us.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay, why Netflix? And what did it take to get this project off the ground?
So Netflix was at a really exciting time, and they still are, where they just started 4 years ago, brand new animation studio, and looking for diverse stories that were not your traditional Disney, Nickelodeon. And for me as a creator, like that was so enticing because I had worked for studios that have a brand, they have boundaries they got to keep. Whereas Netflix at the time, like they were just like, do whatever you want, which was so exciting to explore my voice as a artist, but also to tell my team, like, let's create the show we've always wanted. Like, what would you do? What would you want to do? So Netflix was the perfect partner for that. Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let me talk about the team and the voices or the cast. Is everyone involved of Native background?
So all Native characters are voiced by Native actors. We definitely have like park visitors who are not Indigenous and still can visit our park, of course. But yes, we have a stellar cast. I am obsessed with our Spirit Ranger kids. They're so talented. But this series also has Tantu Cardinal, Wes Studi, their sun and moon who watch over the park, which was like so special to me because there are elders in the park, but also elders in the Native Hollywood space. They really paved the way for us. So I'm really happy that we have them on the show. And then every episode has its own original song. And it's been really fun to invite cast that can sing, or some cast that you didn't know could sing who will. Like we have Kimberly Guerrero sings a song. We also have Brooke Simpson, who is, her voice is beautiful, and she sings a song for us. It's been really great to have our Native cast flex this animation muscle.
Now, staying on the cast for just a little bit, did you go through the whole casting call and go through that? Did you know these young kids?
We did a casting call with the guidance of the amazing Renee Hayes. She and Elise helped us scour this country for our Sky Cedar family. And then from there, the baton was passed to Allison Bosch, who's a voiceover director, casting director. And her and I had worked together on the Chicken Squad previously, and I had seen her work with kids, and she's so good. And I knew she'd be great for our first time kids, but also a lot of our native talent has never done voiceover before. So they really needed somebody experienced who was going to tell them and train them and support them. So she was somebody I brought on, and I'm so grateful for it.
And then lastly, regarding the writers, are the
Mm.
writers Native as well?
Yes, our writers staff is entirely Indigenous. That was something that was really important to me because I am only one person. And I think to make our show great, it was going to take more than just my perspective. So all of our writers are from Indigenous backgrounds. We have Joey Clift, who is Cowlitz, Kelly D'Angelo, who is Haudenosaunee, Carly Malamute, who's Athabascan, Shelley Dennis, and Chris Crenwell, who are both Choctaw. And bringing our experiences together, that writer's room was really, really special. And I feel really lucky that they felt that they could be vulnerable and talk about what it was like to be a Native kid. Sometimes it was a joy, sometimes it was really hard. And we just shared all of our stories and put it into the Sky Cedars and all these visiting spirits.
Well, I have to say the show is really lovely and brilliant to watch. It's colorful, it's gorgeous. But now I want to ask you about being the first California Native American showrunner. Will you share a little bit of your journey that got you to this point? And maybe it goes back to living on your reservation. And as you mentioned earlier, they got you to college. Tell me a little bit about your journey getting to this point.
I am a huge animation nerd. I love animation, always wanted to be in the space. One of my first heroes on screen was Pocahontas. I am a 90s baby. She was everything to me. I remember at our powwow one year when I was like 10 years old, Irene Bedard was there, and my sister and I were just like, oh my God, there she is. And we had her sign our DVD. And it just meant the world to me that she looked like me and my sister. She was like, representation really, really matters. And it wasn't until, of course, I got older and realized the source material was not great and Pocahontas' story was so romanticized. And that's when I knew I needed to be on the other end of the camera. Like I wanted to be in the driver's seat of creating that native content or just native characters that are fully realized characters. So I went to school at the University of San Diego, where I was an English major and a communication studies major, mainly focusing in creative writing because I didn't know a path to TV and film. And then I got into Syracuse University for grad school. And that's where I really got my hands dirty with TV and film and learning the ropes and just knew it was for me. And after that, I moved to Los Angeles. My first job was a Nick turn at Nickelodeon's as an intern there, and then went on to work as a production assistant on Dora, and then a script coordinator on Doc McStuffins and Vampirina, and then that's when I started writing, and then Spirit Rangers came about. It's been a very fast few years. I guess I've been out here for 8 years now.
Wow. And what would you say to the younger you?
Um, Gosh, I would just say that I am not alone. I think back then, being Native and wanting to tell Native stories felt really isolating. I was often the only Native in the building or the room. And then to come out here to LA and meet an amazing array of Native artists is just like fueling my creative soul, and seeing the success of like Reservation Dogs and Rutherford Falls and Prey. And it is so inspiring, and I think I would tell myself to keep going. Native stories do matter.
And have you had any feedback from audiences, or what has been the buzz about? Has it been seen yet? I know it's going to air soon, but has it been seen or viewed by audiences yet?
So Spirit Rangers comes out Indigenous Peoples Day, but we did have a private screening recently this past weekend, and that was really special because we got to show 2 episodes. That's 4 stories total, and oh gosh, yeah, it was really special hearing the kids come out of the theater saying like Eddie's my favorite, or I want to be Summer, or like using their necklaces to, try and transform. It's been getting really positive review just from even that little screening, and I love that people can't get that song out of their head. That makes me really happy. So I'm just so excited to share it with the world on Indigenous Peoples Day.
All right, Carissa, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for this creation. I look forward to watching it on Netflix.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
This program was originally produced for 91.9 KVCR Radio.
Yeah, the simple things in life.
Thank you, Lillian. For FNX Now, this is Frank Blanquette.
Summer, Cody, Eddie, as of today, you're officially Junior Park Rangers!
This is the best day of my life! The Spirit Rangers are here to protect every crook, cranny, and critter. The raining rocks are falling all over the park.
Not the face, not the face. Thank you for lending a wing.
Anytime, rain or shine. Heroic.
Why, thank you. I am everyone's favorite spirit, after all.
Not too, Coyote. The Spirit Rangers. Another job for the Spirit Rangers!